minute, fella. Look here.
Stand by.
One for C-Lab, two for Tar Ego, three for Wolverine to round out the trio. In this episode, everybody dies.
Broadcasting live from inside the Power Band. This is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm your host, Kevin, along with my wonderful friends, Ben.
Hi.
And Chad.
Yo.
Welcome to the show, folks. This week, we're talking about the 1984 classic, Romancing the Stone, starring our beloved Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and El Guapo. Let's start the show. High level.
Don't forget Danny DeVito.
Yeah, Danny DeVito, man.
And Danny DeVito. Let's start the show high level.
You could argue that was a bit of a death, man.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a death.
It's DeVito's, man.
You going to argue it or are you going to say it?
I'm going to say it.
I declare.
You going to throw down, boy?
I do declare.
Early
Have we
death.
done a DeVito movie yet?
I do declare.
I don't think we did any of the Keaton Batmans. Didn't do Twins.
No.
Nope.
This is our initial.
Unless it was like a cameo kind of role
Maybe.
that he was in. Yeah.
I'd have to peruse the catalog.
I think this is our fourth Douglas.
We may now
yes.
all be dead.
Very
Yeah.
recent Douglas, too. We've done a bunch of Douglases recently, I feel like.
Yeah.
So,
we're kind of on a roll.
Yeah, we are.
High Liv.
Let's tear it up, man. What's up? High level.
I'll
Who
go.
wants to go?
I remembered two things about this movie, and one of them was three things. One of them was the Little Mule, of course, which was
Nice.
totally different
Totally.
than I remembered. I thought it was like a one of the like more compact Ford Ranger kind of things, and
Mm.
Yep.
turns out it was more like a Ford Bronco with like the top off.
Which it was.
Yeah,
Turns out.
which it was.
Was it an old school Bronco, though? I can't remember what was the...
Yeah, it was like
Not
an
like
80s
an old
XLT.
school. It was like an 80s one.
Yeah.
Not like a, you know,
The box.
Yeah.
Specifically an XLT, yeah.
yeah, not like the ones that the
It's a pretty sweet ride.
you know, the not the Bronco that the era of Bronco that the new ones are based on,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
the
No.
80s one, yeah, which is basically like an F-150 with a different body.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's one. Two was burning the bales of weed for heat in the abandoned
Yes.
airplane,
It was pretty great.
and three was him freaking out about the fact that the Doobie Brothers had broken up. Like
I love it.
he just got the news. You know, he'd been in South
Odd
America for so
reference.
long. You got to be kidding me! The fucking Doobie Brothers broke up. So there was a lot in between to sort of rediscover here, and
Yes.
it was quite entertaining.
Very much so.
You know, people were talking about the rom-com aspect before, and there's definitely that, but there's also a bit of like, you know, Indiana Jones
Yeah.
kind of,
Yep.
you know, swashbuckling adventure going on, and the bits in between. So yeah,
Totally.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I too enjoyed this. I had never seen this. It was a little bit before my time. I honestly, I recognize the name of the movie a shitload,
Sure.
but I thought it was a Bruno movie.
Oh
Wow.
I think I was getting it confused for Hudson Hawk or something. Because I had never
Okay.
seen that either. But
Okay.
yeah, I totally vibe with what you're saying about the Indiana Jones kind of thing. It was just a lot of fun, you know? It was
Yeah.
a little bit on rails and all of that, you know, if you want to you kind of pick it apart, but everything was on rails while doing rails in the 80s, so it totally makes sense. You know?
Right.
yeah.
It fits perfectly with the time, and it probably did quite well. And I don't know, it's kind of cool that it's focused on her as the main character. I kind of like that. It also feels a little bit outside of the square for that time. You had Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 and stuff. There was some of that kind of stuff going on. It wasn't really in my wheelhouse, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that it kind of focuses on the romance novelist kind of thing. And El Guapo being a huge fan was hilarious. So it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah. Joanna.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It totally fit.
I love the aspect of it's her sort of stumbling into the plot of one of her romance novels, essentially. You know,
Yeah.
She's like the sort of wallflower, that like finds herself in the midst of this like wacky adventure.
And then in the classic sense comes out of it like a hardcore badass at the end, it's very charming.
Yeah.
Starts off as a hardcore cat lady and ends up as a ninja assassin or whatever. Kills the general by alligator, of course, or crocodile or whatever.
By alligator, and just kudos to the copious use of alligators in this movie.
There's some serious alligator action, and then it tops it all off with the boots at the end. Like it's like a super 80s movie. It was great. So that's me.
Look at those choppers.
Look at those. That's kind of
look at those choppers.
No, snappers, dude. Look at those snappers.
I'm dead. Snappers.
You gotta take a death
Right.
I think,
Yeah, sorry, dude. I wasn't trying to kill you, but
here it is.
It was snappers.
What,
That was
what's
that.
with
Okay,
the-
so
what's with the apologizing? Jesus Christ!
Right?
sorry,
I
bro.
fucking
Jeez.
stepped right into it. I mean,
You did.
it's rare that I do, so I called myself out. Jesus.
Mhm.
Choppas.
Was this a nostalgic romp for you, Kevaruni, or?
Yeah, it was, dude. So, like, for me, the things I remembered about this movie were just that fucking sawed-off shotgun, man. Wow. I just love that fucking thing. I just, like, when I was a kid, so 84, I was, like, 12, like, that sawed-off shotgun was so cool, man. It was just fucking, he'd blast away with it, and it was just had the coolest noise. Like, guns had the best noises in 80s movies, man.
Excellent sound
Right?
design for guns in the 80s, yeah.
Right, dude? It was so over the top, dude. Like Commando's another great example of that. But like this one was good because it wasn't like all about the fucking guns,
Mhm.
So that was one thing. And that guy, Ira, saying, "Look at those snappers." My brother was always doing that, dude. Always. So yeah.
Get
I
a
really
load
like
of those
that.
snappers.
And I don't know what else. Something else you said too. Oh, the little mule and El Guapo.
Fucking
which I
Little
of course
Mule, yeah.
back then. Yeah, I didn't put two and two together. I hadn't quite reached the level of like my nerddom about like actors and stupid movie knowledge and shit. But I hadn't put that all together. But I really liked him and the little mule part and all that. And I feel like I felt like it was a straight up. My recollection of the vehicle, because I was hyper focused on the vehicle too, it was like a like to me it was I seem to remember it as like a straight up 150 short bed. You know what I mean? I liked that it was like the Bronco with the kind of open to the back end, kind of setup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
had
were
a similar
closer than
kind
I
of-
was then.
Yeah, I guess, but like I don't know. I don't know. I could see it being one of those old boxy Ranger. You know what I mean? Like the full on squared off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I had a brain fart about that, but
Definitely.
that's like a
Same.
legendary movie vehicle. It's had a shit
100%.
ton of like cameos and mention like sort of analogs and video games and different things. Like it's definitely a thing. So
Definitely, dude. And just a quick word about that type of car, man. Like you made a comment. You're like, oh, it's not the old one that the new ones are based off of. Like those old ones that from the 60s and the 70s, like those things were, kind of rugged and they were nice and they've got like some cachet to them, in terms of like serious vehicle nostalgia, and like the ones in the 80s are kind of the like the quote unquote the dirty ones, you know what I mean, the Broncos, but like I like those 80s ones, the late 70s into the 80s ones, because I feel like they're like they're a little bit country and they're a little bit rock and roll, dude, and I dig that, man.
Oh God,
you feel me?
You didn't just look, man. I'm not going to use the same parlance.
Okay.
But I will say that I understand that they don't have the same cachet as the older Bronco, but
Right.
that's my Bronco. Like those like boxy with the boxy Bronco and Blazer and like that era of like square body trucks, etc. from the like 80s, basically.
So you're
Like,
feeling
I love
me.
those. I love those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like they're the redheaded stepchild. Like, people love those things, but they just don't have the same kind of like, ooh,
It's you're still not even like it's an antique Bronco, or it's a vintage Bronco. You're like, oh, it's an 80s Bronco.
No, it's like, all right, let's take this thing for a fucking hell ride, Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, light some
Let's go light
some
them up
shit
while
on
drinking
fire.
a 30-pack of Bud.
let's not treat it nice. Let's fucking get it stuck and potentially,
Exactly.
yeah.
and eventually more.
Let's drive this thing to the fucking beach party as fast as we can go with kids hanging off the side.
Ooh, fuck yeah! There you go, man. I like that. So
Fold it in
anyway,
half
that
or
was
take it on the
sorry
beach
for
and have it get like claimed by the ocean.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
washed.
definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my high level. Like that's
That's my car high level.
That's my car. No, that's my high level with a Ford, an 80s Ford Bronco sub high level.
Hey.
Hey, is always time for a first here at the show, folks. So anyway, yeah, that was it. I've got a lot to say about this movie. I really enjoyed watching it. So I can't wait to get into it. Where do you guys want to go first?
Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Oh, gracious host.
I'll say kind of the overlying meta kind of thing about this movie. I thought about this movie a lot while I was watching it and before we got on the mic. And, I read all this stuff, this is like an Indiana Jones ripoff. It's not an Indiana Jones ripoff, for one thing. Number one.
No, not at all.
Not in my opinion. In my opinion, not at all. I think it's excellent. It's funny. It's great. It's got great adventure. In something that Chad said that I picked up on too this time around, because I haven't seen this in a long time, is that this was very like strong female lead centric. Like, let's not have like a weepy gal. Not only that, but we kind of had that, but more in the form of like this sort of, as she put it, hopeful romantic, who kind of wanted to be the women that she wrote about. You know what I mean? And then she kind of becomes that woman, and I love that about this movie, dude.
Yeah.
And I love all of the hopeful romantic aspects of this movie, man. I love the opening scene with the Western. It's kind of like a
just
so
cheesy, great.
Inside of her head. Oh yeah, it was a little bit, but it was good too,
way.
man. It was
in a good way.
Kind of like the way those Westerns were, man, in the 60s and shit, So
and being just to dive in for 1 second, the like 80s nature of the pun intended titillating kind of scene where she's got the blouse and her shirt's wet and like the bad guys coming in, like it being an 8-year-old boy watching this or whatever, it was it was the most 80s thing ever. You know what I mean? Like it was great and so cheesy and romance novelty.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. Actually, I need to backpedal on a little bit of what I said. So because Westerns are kind of having a bit of a resurgence right now, and being very like specific to the period and honoring being period accurate, I think is what I'm looking for here, is a big thing with Westerns now. And that's what you see. And like women, they don't dress like that. So like the leg with the knife and all that. You never see that, dude. Never. No.
Only on a cover of a romance novel, so it was perfect.
Exactly.
Not even the hint of an ankle.
Yeah.
Not even
a scandalous ankle.
A scandalous ankle. You are a harlot.
Yep.
Totally. Yeah. That was the reality. Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, I could probably rattle off 5 great, amazing Westerns that I've seen in the last 5 years, and more in the last 10 years. So, I think there was a really humongous missed opportunity here in that they made the second movie about a guy was the jewel. And I remember being a kid watching that, and I was so excited to see that movie because I loved this movie. And I was so disappointed when I found out that the Jewel of the Nile was like a guy. And I was like, this is so dumb, dude. What the fuck happened here, man? Because they really could have like made like a whole thing about this. I kind of went off on this in my mind. And it's kind of a shame because this is a really cool movie. And you really could have done a really cool series just, where these novels that she writes kind of come to life, man. You know what I mean? In one sense or another, like I started kind of riffing on that in my head, and I was like, this is actually a really cool idea, dude, and it really showcases like strong women and, the lead and like just, all kinds of cool stuff you could have done, and you could have even swapped out like the hunky lead guy, you know what I mean? As long as you kept the central female protagonist there, man, and like you could have just done 5, 6 of these things, man, and they would have been fantastic, man. So that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about a lot of that and just how cool the movie was. It's a nice package, man. And I didn't realize it was Bob Zemeckis that directed it. And it's like I just love him, dude.
Yeah,
it's like Back to the Future and all those great movies we love. Like
Yeah,
he had a great way of doing things, man, that I really enjoy. We've done a couple of his films already, and good stuff, man.
No doubt.
That's where I'll start.
There's just a little nug in there where this thing tested so badly that they shit canned Zemeckis off of Cocoon.
I know, right?
Yeah, and it turned out that it was a hit, and he went on to do Back to the Future. So that's kind of an interesting little bit of lore there.
Very.
I'm just trying to look at where he was in terms of
what
stupid fucking IMDb. I'll take an ejection, but this stupid IMDb shit where you open somebody up and it's like, here's their 55 producer credits. It's like, I don't give a fuck.
I don't do that. That's why I just, see, I did the same thing you did, but I just went to Wikipedia instead because I wanted to avoid everything you just complained about.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, he only has 2 movies before Romancing the Stone, Used Cars and I Want to Hold Your Hand. I know neither of those.
Used Cars was a Kurt Willis movie.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
so like Romancing the Stone being a hit seems to be what set off Zemeckis' career. Like they shit canned him off Cocoon. Like that's pretty wild.
That's really wild.
I watched the in our first cul-de-sac of 2024. I watched the Michael J. Fox documentary Still on it was on Apple. My dad's got an Apple thing. It was actually really worth checking out. It was really interestingly put together. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but
no, I haven't. But I saw like a trailer for it, and I was like, I have to watch this. And then I, didn't forget about it so much as get distracted by 9,000 other things because that's what happens now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I do want to watch that.
Yeah. Just the Zemeckis stuff reminded, like obviously Back to the Future being like Fox's big break. Yeah,
but like this guy did Forrest Gump, dude.
Yeah, totally, man.
Forrest Gump, man.
Contact, Castaway. Like Castaway, dude, is such a fucking good movie, man.
Dude, everybody that I know that loves that movie, like loves that movie. And I think I've had one fragmented watch of that movie. I need to watch it.
Emma and I watched it, and she had never seen it before, and she didn't know what it was about. So like she got to experience it clean, and it was pretty good.
Nice.
It's nice to be able to kind of like experience it again through another person's eyes sometimes. So it definitely helped. But
absolutely,
sure.
I mean, Roger Rabbit, which is weird as fuck and niche as fuck, but it's pretty groundbreaking at the time. Yeah, when I saw Zemeckis come up on the credits here, I was like, oh, no shit. So, yeah, totally. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I forgot about it, his involvement, and it
just has a Back to the Future vibe in terms of the, like, on-rails adventuriness of it all,
Yeah, but that's the Bob Zemeckis vibe, dude.
That's it, yeah.
Like, that's the thing that's cool about it, man,
It's not like super Spielberg now, but it just has that really great little bit of flavor.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, for sure. I didn't realize he, like, collaborated with him so vehemently in the past. They seem kind of like...
Spielberg?
Yeah, him and...
It kind of makes sense. It's like...
Coots a little bit.
You would imagine that he would be very much a contemporary at that time, Like you'd think that all the big directors would all collaborate.
Oh, and of course, I totally forgot because Kathleen. I did read that Kathleen Turner was in this, but Bob Zemeckis did an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Ooh, I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, right. Good stuff, man. The Frighteners, Matchstick Men. Fucking. Oh, wait a minute, dude. Oh, he did Real Steel with Hugh Jackman. That's a great movie, dude.
With Hugh Jackman?
Yeah. It's kind of like this weird robot boxing movie. Yeah, I love that.
Bob Zemeckis did that?
Apparently, yeah, that's what it says. Oh, sorry, executive producer.
Okay.
My bad.
Dude, we should do Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, you know what else he did that we've already loved to not love? This is Tresspass.
Dude. He's executive produced that one too?
No, he directed it, bro. Oh, no. Just
he didn't.
produced it.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
You're stuck on the producer credits there, mate.
No, it was Walter Hill. He's sort of in that same kind of whatever. Anyway, yeah. Great Bob Zemeckis. Love his movies, man.
I don't know. Like, I guess just to 11s a little bit here. I feel like the 80s, this era of adventure movie is just my jam, dude. Like, having never seen this, it was super enjoyable. Like, what's not to like?
Good.
You know, it moves along at a good clip, and there's lots of little bits and funny shit and old school stunts where like they're actually driving a Bronco through a fucking Mexican town and like actually running over fucking chickens and pigs and shit you can't get away with these days, and actually Dukes of Hazzarding over a fucking river.
Yes.
Actually jumping it. Yeah.
So
It was
sick.
like when that fucking, when the little mule landed and like folded in half, I was like, oh, well, that one didn't drive off the set.
That one didn't do anything. It was great. It's just such a wistful moment in cinema history. I love it.
Oh, it's really great, man. I don't like when I started reading that. All these people are like, "Oh, this is such a ripoff of Indiana Jones." I'm like,
I didn't get that at all,
It's
man.
not at
Not
all.
at all. No. Like, look,
It's not even remotely close. It's really more like a kidnapping thriller adventure more than anything, man. Kind of. You know?
No. I mean, I was just gonna perform some maintenance on the comparison to like the Indiana Jones series, in that it has some similar action-y tropes.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some similar things, but it's not at all the same kind of story. It's not like based on like a, you know, like a serial from the 20s or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's
No, dude. And it was written 5 years before that movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is like.
I mean,
you know.
Go ahead, Benny.
it's got some, you know, traveling through the jungle and going into caves and swinging on vines and, you know, that kind of shit, which is
Totally
very Indiana Jones adjacent, but
Yeah.
it's not the same kind of story.
No, not at all.
No way,
necessarily.
dude. Not even close. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the female, you know, and the thing is that Kathleen Turner, Joan Wilder is the main character. Like
Yes,
it's
she
not
is.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Dude. You know what I mean? So like that makes it very different. It's not like Willie is, you know,
Yeah.
or,
Right. It would
what's
be
her
like
name?
if
Thank you.
Temple of Doom was like from Willie's
Yeah, Kate
perspective.
Capshaw. Yeah. And if Indy was a prick, like the key
Yeah,
difference
and
here
if he
too
was-
is like Indy and Colton are not all the same. Like Indy is the golden boy and like heart of gold, honorable throughout, you know, where Colton it goes both ways here. You know, he's going to rip her off. He's not going to rip her off. And like, he comes good, you know?
Yeah. So
Well, you can't.
completely
Yeah,
different.
you can't tell at the very least, which is great and
Yeah.
great for the story, you know, and the viewer. But like, I think too, like these movies take place 40 years apart, man.
Mm.
So it's like the man of the 40s
Yeah.
is different than the man of the 80s. Dude.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
a good point.
that anybody could even bother to start attempting to compare the two, other than the fact that they came out within, you know, a couple of years of each other, is just absurd, dude. So I think, you know, I mean,
there
the
are
problem-
comparisons to be made, but to say it's a ripoff is a major stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, major
Wow.
stretch. Yeah, I
In
mean,
my
the
opinion.
problem with like human beings and like everybody's brain does this, man. Like, just like
Yeah, pattern match.
I'm just going to use this one a great example. It's like as soon as you see Michael Douglas in that hat, and it's like this came out, you know, within 4 years of Indiana Jones, you're like, boom, Indiana Jones.
Sure.
Like you cannot help but do that, especially back then when there was no internet and no nothing, and it was like, you know, you go see it, you're like, oh shit, or you see the trailer on TV, and you're like, oh, Indiana Jones, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there are comparisons. There's like a map, and you know, trying to find a thing, and you know, et cetera. Like, there's that element to Indiana Jones movies, and maybe at this time there wasn't a lot of movies out there like that. So perhaps that was the reason people were like, "Oh, it's a ripoff," you know.
Oh
But,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
If nothing had been made between now and then, except for like whatever the Nick Cage was it like National Treasure or whatever?
Yes,
like, you know,
National Treasure.
Because, you know, there are some comparisons to be made between that and Indiana Jones, but
For sure.
they're also different things. So I don't know. This is like, it's sort of like a genre, you know?
Yeah. That's
rather
reasonable.
than like a rip-off kind of a thing. You
Yeah,
know?
totally.
I agree.
It's like a micro genre, and I'm totally into them. Like, it's great.
Yeah, like even Goonies would sort of be in that genre too.
Yeah,
right?
that
Like,
works.
I would say so.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like treasure map adventure movies, dude.
Totally.
Sorry, thank you for sticking with me through that, because I was driving at something there and I was like half figuring it out at the same time.
Yeah,
but,
no, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board with that.
Were you like the guy like hanging off the cliff with his arm outstretched, like, I got you? And there was your idea you were trying to get to.
The Indiana
like,
Jones
reaching
style
for
where
you.
the hand comes up and just grabs
Exactly.
on. Yeah.
Exactly, dude.
something like that, or I was like, you know, making a leap of faith and finding the invisible step, or you know.
Exactly, dude. I was playing this game with my kids this afternoon that my daughter made up, dude. I decided that my job was going to be to hang off the couch upside down with my arm outstretched, trying to save everybody, and they thought that was the funniest fucking thing ever, dude. I was like, I got you. Anyway, and it's all from these
I'm glad
types
your
of
kids
movies.
get your stuff, man.
That's it.
Anyway, what I was saying earlier, I think there was a really a huge missed opportunity, man, to make like a really cool series of adventure movies out of this. This, and not in that hoary sense of like money. This is the next $1 billion franchise. Like I was thinking about it, and I was like, this is legit. Like you could make a very cool story about a writer and these adventures and like, you know, treasure and like, you know what I mean? And it was a bummer that the second movie just completely dive bombed, dude. And I think it was because of the reason I mentioned. And there was actually a third movie called the Covenant Eagle or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I had it before in front of me. But yeah, there was a third one, and it was in development. And then after the second one tanked, they just were like, yeah, no.
Never got off the ground because of the second one.
Yeah,
but a little sad nugget that I think is better here than at the Nuggets section.
Can we get a sad Chad? Can you craft us sad nugget?
Can we just
emoji?
Debbie Downer this whole fucking thing a little bit?
No. We need a sad nugget emoji, dude.
Okay.
Right? Oh, sad nugget.
Is it like a chicken nugget, like a really bummed out chicken nugget with like a anthropomorphized chicken nugget?
Ooh, you might be onto something there, yeah.
So I saw this in
those things are definitely alive.
The place where all nuggets come from. But the writer of this, Diane Thomas, was a waitress who got this script optioned by Michael Douglas for $250,000. So it was a big break.
Oh, this is the worst story, dude. I read this. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just saw this randomly, so I feel like this makes a lot of sense considering Jewel of the Nile not doing well. So Douglas optioned the script off of her, and then Douglas bought her a Porsche to say thanks for the success of the film, and her boyfriend crashed the fucking thing with her in it, and she died. So like obviously that's a tragedy. Like that's fucking terrible.
Oh fuck.
While she was working on a movie with Spielberg. So, like, she had her big break and she was, like, off to the races and then boom. Because I feel like if that hadn't happened, the chances of the Jewel of the Nile being a different film was probably pretty decent. Like, there's probably a good chance that she would have been involved with writing it, you know? So it's a real tragedy.
Didn't she write it?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe she did. But, like, it's a real tragedy in the sense that, like, she's got a writing credit on Jewel of the Nile. But I would imagine maybe it was, like, she had some ideas about it, and then the other people came in and finished it because she died. But, like, she is essentially, you know, Joan Wilder. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
she's Kathleen Turner. She's the person who got the break, and then it didn't work out. It's really kind of it's really shit, you know.
Well, it's really cool in like the beginning, right?
Yeah,
like
where
the
she
idea
succeeds,
of it and everything you're saying. Yeah, and then it's tragic as fuck, man.
Totally.
You
it's
know?
like the end of the movie.
It's
The
terrible.
sailboat shows up and she goes off into the sunset. And in real life, tragedy happens. You know, in real life happens. It's just fucking shit.
It's terrible. It is
In real
terrible.
life, the Porsche shows up, and
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it's it's a huge downer, obviously, but it's a really wild and interesting and tragic piece of connective tissue to the movies, and it kind of makes sense the second one sucked as a result of her not being able to participate, you know. But it's a shame
Very
because I
much
think,
so,
like
man.
you said, the
We
series
think,
would have been
yeah.
great and could have been quite successful, you know. And then
Yeah.
it kind of is, you know, a completely different form of Indiana Jones. Like it's not at all the same. It's not at all ripping it off. It's just like a different flavor of that type of multiple movie adventure with a
Yeah,
female lead. Like I think that would have been great.
Yeah, set in a different time period and
Yeah.
really kind of, you know, the adventures are very the generation of how they're generated is very different as well. You know, whether they're, you know, you could have it where it's like, you know, the books come to life if you really wanted to kind of go that angle a little bit, you know, or you could just have it that like, you know, she's writing the books and like the adventures are the inspiration for this. So like, there's so many ways you could go with it that it would be so cool, man. You know, you know, and have these hunky, capable men in it, you know, and her being a badass. I mean, it's great. It's like something for everybody, dude.
I could see like a series with the same kind of charm as something like a Back to the Future.
Totally.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That just didn't end up being a thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, with that same kind of Bob Zemeckis kind of feel to it, dude. You know, he's got that great feel-goody thing going on.
And it's funny how that like sequel machine works out. Like sometimes it ends up being like all of the content ends up being great. You know, maybe everybody has their favorite. You know, but you know, somebody's favorite is one of the it's a trilogy, one of the three or whatever. But sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, no,
sometimes like
you're
that
right.
that money machine just makes the wrong decision. Whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, that isn't that we could probably do an entire episode of that.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
serious.
Yeah, it's
A
wild.
little broad stroke there, but
No,
is
that
weird.
would be almost an interesting thing to talk about in a show, dude, because there's so many different ways that can go, you know. So yeah, that is interesting for sure. Incidentally, the name of that third one was the Crimson Eagle. That's what that one was called.
was Mike Douglas in that one too?
Yeah, so the I guess
Really?
the sort of the one line of the story was Jack and Joan, along with their two children, go to Thailand and are blackmailed into stealing a precious statue. Yeah, I
almost feel like they're
removing
going to do a coming to America with this. Like, I could totally see someone picking this up and trying to get Turner and Douglas back.
Dude, Michael Douglas is
there
like
could be some hope there. I mean,
Michael Douglas is like very old,
250.
and,
But they would do the Shia LaBeouf hand me down, I reckon. You know,
right? But they could. I don't know. Maybe.
not to be confused with the glass bottom boat. The Shia LaBeouf hand me down sounds like a sexual position.
Sounds like a sexual move that's potentially
I'm feeling like a
generous and
I'm feeling like a football dad
Not
kind of
good.
move, like a sports dad
A
move.
football
would be the way
dad
to
kind
go.
of like a football dad
Like
kind
a
of
sports-
sexual move.
No, a sports dad, like a sports dad who's just like talking.
Keep going. I want to understand where you're going with
talking.
because I'm thinking
You're gonna
that
love this.
I'm just picturing like one of the football announcer
Shia LaBeouf
quarterback
hand me down
hosts.
is a sports dad thing.
No, but I think that I feel like he's saying it's a sports dad making a sexual move. So I'm picturing like a bald ex-footballer doing something sexual, but I don't think that's where you're going with it. Where are you going with it?
You know what? I'm more entertained by where you went in your mind.
Taking a shit ton of ecstasy, and he's like, hut, hike with his wife in the bedroom or something. Like, I don't know.
This is Chad. Okay,
Just like,
I get
what the fuck is
three
wrong with
words
you?
out, and Chad's like, "Okay, here's what I'm picturing," and he starts creating a whole world of drugs and pornography
No, it was just like
around.
it was just like the Ben Gay John Madden. He's like, I put Ben Gay on, and then I take her doggy style or something. It's like, okay, man. I'm like, what?
Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? No, dude.
So many
in fact,
things.
what I was going to say is so much more vanilla than what you just said. I don't even want to say it now because it's not even going to be good anymore.
It's like a double Dutch rudder, but with Ben Gay.
No, it's kind of that thing where you start like talking to the coach about like, you know, what's wrong with the team. And like, that's why I think if you put my kid in, you know what I mean? So that's that's where I was going with that.
It's the Shia LaBeouf hand-me-down is
but instead, I was like,
it's the Shia LaBeouf.
I want to go in like a Trojan horse and be like, listen, I'm going to start pitching the story of, you know, redoing it and making a series or a series of films out of it, man. And then, you know, it kind of end the entire pitch after I really hook them in with, that's why I think if you cast me as the lead, it's really would be great, you know, because Michael Douglas is kind of old and
There you go.
So
got it.
yeah, you know, there you go. Boom, sports stat.
Oh, that's
Boom.
fucking great.
Yeah, that was a really interesting little mind experiment there.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do we want to talk about?
Hey, look, I'm sure there's a Douglas we can pull in to do this. I mean,
There's got to be a Douglas somewhere, right?
Gotta be.
there's gotta
Many
be.
Douglies out there.
You could pull in one of the Skarsgård Guardians of the Galaxy.
There you go. Get a little Scandinavian going on.
Mm. Oh, that's fucking good stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. That
Just
was
the
fun.
idea of having some Bengay involved with a sexual.
I mean,
position is just-
get Kurt Russell's kid in there.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
It's got the same kind of vibe. It's like
What's
there's like
what's his
business
deal?
mullet dudes, like they've had the same haircut for forever. You know, like like Mike Douglas and fucking Kurt Russell. They've always had that sort of like, you know, like a business dude's haircut just grew out a little bit too much and got long in the back, you know, sort of mullet.
Yeah, I am with you
Yeah.
1,000%. Wyatt Russell. There you go.
Wyatt. Yeah.
I thought you were talking
kinda
about
cool.
old mate from The Boys that loves Darth Vader's harmonica. I'm giving you nothing here. Jack Quaid. I was thinking Randy Quaid's kid.
Oh, Randy Quaid's kid. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he would bring a certain charm to it, but you know, he might not have the hair.
I mean, if we're gonna go all in on this, it probably should be Busey's kid, shouldn't
Who, Jake?
Jake Busey?
it? Yeah,
No.
man. Come on.
I mean, okay.
He's a talent.
This is a good cul-de-sac. Or a bad one. I'm not sure which, but
Wyatt Russell's actually 37, dude. He's pretty old.
yeah, he's not a kid. He's just
No, he's not.
he's just Kurt Willis's kid.
Former ice hockey player? What?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they've
Really?
the
Did he
two of
play
them
in
have
the
been
NHL?
popping up all over TV lately because they're in that Monarch series on Apple TV Plus.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah. What is that?
It's like a Godzilla thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. That looks kind of intriguing. Mildly.
Wyatt plays the character as a young man, and Kurt Russell plays him as the older man. And
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
yeah, it's interesting. I haven't watched it, but I like the idea.
Yeah, I like that idea too, man.
Who was the spokesman for Bengay? I can't remember. Was it Madden?
No, he was tough acting tonight.
Oh, that's right.
He
Oh,
was
that's a
tough
death.
acting
That's
tonight.
definitely a death.
Yeah. Oh,
There
it
probably
is?
was
Okay.
a sports guy associated with Bengay.
A little obscure, Chad. You're not really required to know stupid shit about old commercials.
Are you
on
kidding
this
me?
show, but-
You're
all right.
you, sir. How dare you, sir? You're now dying for not defending infomercial-esque commercial trivia knowledge.
Okay, I'm dead.
you are. Billy Mays is rolling over in his fucking grave.
He is. You're right.
I'm teaching Ethan where anytime anyone says "How dare you" to say "How dare you, sir." It's really funny.
I bet that's funny.
He said "How dare you" to me the other day, and I was like, "How dare you, sir?" And he's like, "What?" I was like, "No, you have to say that every time."
You got to teach him to properly say "Good day, sir" as like an insult.
Yeah, totally. Good day, to
Good
you.
day, sir.
Exactly. All right, so tough acting and acting aside, Danny DeVito. It was nice to see Danny DeVito. I love Mr. DeVito.
Yeah, this is one of his early movies, dude.
Really,
Believe it or not.
man, really is. I would have
Yeah.
thought Taxi. He was in Taxi before this, though, wouldn't he have been? Like that would have been his
Yeah,
break
He was.
no. TV he was in, but yeah.
in terms of movies, but because Taxi was fucking huge. Like I feel like that he would have been
Definitely.
kind of like Bruno. He would have been a household name, so to speak, because of his TV.
He was, because of Moonlighting, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And Danny DeVito was, interestingly enough, him and Michael Douglas were roommates in New York City.
That would have been fun.
This is a great nugget. So they were roommates in New York City, and then Michael Douglas got cast in Streets of San Francisco, so he left to go to California to shoot that show. He kept paying the rent on the place in New York, and then when it came time, and he was kind of blowing up a little bit, and Danny DeVito was, working his way up too, and when it came time, he got him in this movie, which is cool.
Hell yeah,
I like that.
I feel like they would have been fun dudes to go out with roommates.
Danny DeVito was another highlight of this movie for me. Like when I was a kid, he was really funny and really animated. He kind of was like nervy and anxious all the time, like he was always like freaking out and driving that crappy Renault around.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That little
the epitome of shitbox.
Dude, the epitome of shitbox. Okay, here's another great nugget, Ben, just for you, because you and I love talking about vehicles. That car, turns out, was the best-selling car in Colombia at the time.
Love it. It makes perfect sense.
Wow.
We could find them everywhere. Yeah.
It's kind of like the bug in Cuba or whatever.
I don't know anything about them. They're probably great, but it just looks like a shitbox.
They are a little shitbox.
It definitely looks like a shitbox, dude.
Yeah.
And it's a Renault 4L, and it also had like the tagline in the commercial was El Amigo Fiel, the faithful friend.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure there's a movie where there's a car chase and the protagonists are in like
that car.
They're in a semi that has a shit ton of those cars in the trailer, right. in the car carrier trailer. Right. And they're just like sort of like lobbing them off like ammo
like
to
grenades.
to get the people off behind them.
That's great. That's a perfect use
because
for it.
That's what that car is for.
Yeah, I don't remember what the movie is, but they're just
they're pretty iconic.
It's an iconic car, but it like ubiquitous and sort of disposable seeming.
It's either like a El Guapo
time,
dude driving it around like a shitbox, or like Audrey Hepburn's in it, like in Paris or something.
Yes.
One or the other.
100%. I don't.
Back to Danny DeVito though, because God damn it, he was. I was struck by how baby-faced he was here, and like
very.
I had this weird kind of a thing because I never thought of Danny DeVito as being young-looking when I was a kid.
He's always looked like he looks in Always Sunny or something.
Well, it was like he looked the same for a long time, and he was like an adult, and he was bald, and like all these different things were like when you're a kid you associate with like being sort of aged, so
sure.
It's interesting to see him here. Yeah, to see him here being.
It's kind of like he was like 40 for like a long time,
right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? Like I feel like they were like
40.
Yeah.
Yeah, 38 or something.
Dude, 18 right to 40.
No, like
he was 40.
His mother in labor gave birth to him, and he had a fucking cigar in his mouth. Like he just seems like that kind of.
I can see that too.
Yeah.
And then he was 40 for like at least 20 to 30 years. Of my life, he always just seemed 40.
No, he continued to be sort of the same for like well into my adulthood. So
right,
it's just interesting to see him here and be like, wow, like I remarked, I was like, wow, he looks so young.
Well, and as any actor knows, that's actually quite a compliment. You know what I mean? When somebody thinks that you're the same age, it's like, oh, perfect. That means I can just keep playing.
Absolutely.
Things.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. So, I'm with you there 100%. He really had this like kind of interesting, funny, manic kind of thing going on in this movie where he was, but it never felt like overly stupid or sort of slapsticky or, you know what I mean, over the top. It was good.
No, and I say that because despite the fact that I laughed my ass off when he fell off the counter trying to pull his wanted poster off the wall.
Oh, that was great.
Totally.
Right? Or the numerous times he was sort of caught sleeping in that Renault, like
Yep.
they steal the car. He's in the back. Like there's numerous times where like he's on the side of the road sleeping in the car. He's like living in that thing. It's great.
He's great comic relief in this one. I mean, even the bit with the jewel where he gets punted out of the car, or he's out of the car and he's just like running along, and they're chasing him in the Renault. I don't know. He just has a certain
rolling down the hill,
charm
dude.
to him.
Yeah, he did, and then the other thing too is like at the end when like everything kind of comes to a head there, like they really fucking fucked him up, man.
Yeah, man.
Like Zolo really fucked him up. Like when they drag him into that castle, dude, like he's like looks like he's literally been dragged behind a truck for 10 miles of bad road, dude.
No doubt.
I was just gonna say it's good to see him. It was good to see him because
it was.
Me too.
There have been all these. I've been reading all these like rumors about a. I think it's misrepresented. I think there actually is going to be a new movie with Arnold and Danny DeVito in it.
Fuck yeah.
But
okay,
people have been saying like, oh, it's going to be the twin sequel. It's going to be triplets or whatever. And turns out that was a script and it was something they were going to do, but like it didn't end up happening. But in fact, apparently, Schwarzenegger and DeVito are working on another movie together because they're like,
what? Nice.
Yeah.
I've heard that Arnold is like that new FUBAR series on Netflix is kind of taken off a little bit for him, which is kind of neat. I haven't watched it, but
I got to get back on that. I started watching it and it wasn't bad, but I just I got distracted by something else. So
as is the case often
in
2024.
Just looking at DeVito's credits, dude, like it seems like he's had constant work throughout, but Always Sunny was a real renaissance for him, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking hilarious in that, dude.
I don't like that show.
I haven't watched all 74 seasons of it, but I definitely watched a bit of it back in the day, and it was quite funny. It had its moment. He's been in it forever. He's been in it for 160 episodes. Like, it's fucking nuts.
That's
a lot of work.
All right. What else? What are we talking about here with this movie? Where are we going?
I mean, I'm going to do some more cast, maybe?
I guess. We already talked about El Guapo and Three Amigos, and there's not a whole lot to talk about there because he's not really an American actor.
We should touch on it, though, because he's fucking hilarious in this, man.
Dude, he's great, man. That guy has just got such great energy, dude. And like the thing about the El Guapo scene, just to kick it off, is that my recollection of it, and I would be very surprised that Ben didn't have the same experience. Like, I remember that sequence being so long in the movie. Like, I felt like it went on forever, but it doesn't. It's like 5 or 10 minutes, man. It's really short.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, I can't go into that town, and I can't go to Cartagena. I'm a wanted man. He's like, but good luck, like, and I think it worked great that way. You know what I mean? I'm glad that it wasn't like as long as my childhood memory,
As long as my childhood.
I'm glad that scene wasn't as long as my childhood. Exactly, dude.
Exactly.
It was just the right length, though, I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it was just like they're running around in the mud and walking in the rain and wandering around in the mud and lighting Christian bales of weed on fire. And then it's like they're in this sweet-ass mansion and the guy's like, I love your books. It's just it's so funny. It's just like a huge departure for a moment, and maybe that's why it felt bigger than it was. It's because it's a huge departure tonally,
It is, but... Yeah, it is, but I think it was like a tonal. It was like I think that this movie. I feel like it, and I could be wrong, but set the pace for tonal departures like that in many films to come in the future.
Yeah, totally.
Where it's like, two people are kind of like grousing around, adventuring, or some sort of thing that they're in, and then all of a sudden they come up on this oasis of like, somebody that has money, that loves them, that has all the comforts, and like they can take a hot shower and all this kind of bullshit and have a drink, whatever.
And then it's straight into the car chase. Like it just totally.
And then, right.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, I got 5 Ferraris. Take one of them. Right?
Exactly. It's perfect.
And then they get
silly.
that up to a satellite, and then they jump that off the satellite to the tower in Dubai, right? Anyway.
In Dubai.
In Dubai. The stupidest, worst Vin Diesel impression ever, dude.
But I'm into it. I love you, Vin.
So I think I really like that part. That's great. And that guy Alphonso Arau is really
He's just so good.
he's just
dude.
fucking he's just got a really cool energy, dude, you know. And I love how my favorite part of the scene watching it this time was actually that like all the toughs, you know, from the village are kind of like following them up there, dude. And like they're literally like about to murder him. And then he opens the little door in the door, right? And he's like, no, fuck off. And he's got the gun. And he's like, they're about to get shot. And she mentions her name. And he's like, oh, Joada. You know, like,
And
it's
the
just
toughs,
cool
too.
how that whole, yeah, and the toughs as well. Exactly, man. So it was cool how it all just turned around on a dime like that. And it was cool and it was believable and it was funny, dude. It was really, really well done by the actors, man. So sorry for my long-winded El Guapo love thing. Like, go ahead. Somebody else talk.
You have something in there, Benny? It sounded like you did.
No, I just as I'm looking at IMDb,
Still on the internet. Yep.
and Alphonso Arau's page, apparently he's involved in a movie called I Heart Shakey with Steve Lemmy and Steve Gutenberg and Beverly D'Angelo.
What?
Steve Lemmy from Super Troopers and
shit.
Brilliant Wizard is in it. Yeah.
This is like a new project, or
2012.
No. It's out. It was out many years ago.
Oh, dude. Steve Lemmy. I mean, I don't know any of the Super Trooper dudes' names. It's
Mac.
Mac.
Yeah.
Oh, that little guy? I wouldn't worry about that little guy. I fucking love
Good
that.
enough to fuck your mother.
Dude, Super Troopers is fucking legendary.
Anyways, that's
great. I want to check that out.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a ton of credits otherwise, you know? Like, he's in Coco, which is a really great Pixar movie. I think
Oh
it's
my god,
Pixar.
that's like one of the few animated movies like that I've actually enjoyed in the last
That's a really solid
10
one. Yeah.
years. Yeah, that and like Zootopia and like one or two others.
Dude, the sloth scene in Zootopia. I was on an airplane watching that, and I fucking lost it, dude. There were like
remember that.
20 people around me fucking cracking up because I was cracking up.
Sloths work at the DMV, and they're like incredibly slow.
Dude,
Yeah.
say no more.
What do you call a three-humped camel? Fuck me, I was laughing so fucking hard. You know when he's like, it's like the Instagram videos where somebody laughs so hard and then you laugh. Like, I was fucking cracking up and people around me were cracking up because I just could not stop. It was fucking funny.
Well, you were right. Laughter is infectious, man. I remember having that conversation 4 years ago about this show.
That's it.
Let's talk about Zolo for a second, and then let's wrap this up.
Zola was such a cookie cutter bad guy, and I kind of liked it.
Right? There's some holes there too, man. Yeah, I definitely dug the. I mean, he was kind of. What I liked about him was that he was cookie cutter, but he was scary too.
Yeah.
Right? Like even this time when I was watching, I was like, this guy's creepy and scary, man. You know, like he's coming at her with the board. He's already gotten his hand eaten off like Captain Hook, and like he's coming at her with the board. She pulls the whole like, you know, my Jesse move with the freaking knife, dude, and he blocks it.
Totally. You
like,
want to die like a
motherfucker.
snail or like a shooting star?
Not a good line.
No, it was not. And
But I liked it.
it was
It was like it was intentionally bad.
It was a
Yeah.
nod to the crappiness of the
Yeah,
dialogue,
the opening.
because that's what they said at the beginning in the flashback, you know, in the Western thing.
Yeah, it was a different one, but yeah, same format.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, one thing that was great was that no matter what he was doing in the course of like dispatching those people, he always had that stupid cigar in his mouth.
And that
even
stupid
when he
little
lost
knife.
his hand. Even when he lost his hand, he still had the cigar. Even when he was on top of her trying to drive the knife into her, he still had the cigar in his mouth. I was like, okay.
I thought you were going another direction with that, with the knife. Like he's
Nope.
standing on the street, just like walking down the street, and it just like switchblades the knife out at his waist. You know, it's just constantly this tiny little switchblade.
A stupid little switchblade, man. Like,
So
it's
great.
like holding it like it's a lightsaber or something. Like,
Right? Isn't that technically a stiletto, Ben? Isn't that what a stiletto
Yeah,
is? Like it kind of comes out from the handle, but like straight out from the
well,
handle.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't.
Sorry, I know we're all hobby knife
Let's go
experts
into this
here.
for a bit.
Let me consult Knives Chow
Yeah.
monthly.
Knives
And,
Chow Monthly.
Figure this out.
I love
Chad's
that's a
the editor
fictional-
of Knives Chow Monthly.
One of my favorite things in the fictional universe of Valverde is that there is a Knives Chow magazine. It's so fucking niche, and I'm so into it.
I like that we finally did Spies Like Us, because when I always said like the bunker at Valverde, sometimes when we would say that a little in the intro or whatever, like I always pictured it like you'd walk into the room and you'd get a soda and the floor would drop down like 50 stories.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in Spies Like Us.
So Jimmy Google just came back with some results.
Ooh,
And
lay it on us.
it's actually known as an OTF switchblade, out the front switchblade.
Oh.
But
interesting.
in some circles are colloquially known as a stiletto.
Okay. I like that. OTF?
Yeah.
Out the front. Okay.
Kev, did you send through a
Mm-mm.
Very, very technical term there, out the
I
front.
like
Very.
it. I like that. Did you send a picture of a Valverde shirt, or was that somebody on the grams?
No, that was me,
No,
bro.
that was Kev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to that fucking sweet ass shirt.
Right? It was a gift.
Who got that
Excellent
for
gift.
Funk Bagus gave it to
you?
me.
Dude, he knows you well.
The other thing was, that Zolo's flunkies were from Valverde, bro, because they were terrible.
yeah.
Number one. Number
Yep.
two, I love this shit. They were wearing sunglasses all the time,
Yep.
even in the pitch black of night.
Good night.
Excuse me, in that castle, they were
Which
wearing
might have been the
sunglasses.
reason 90% of their rounds didn't connect with anybody.
Right.
Probably why, yeah. And I love when when we have a movie set like in South America or whatever, and then like I look at the cast credits and like all the names are like Rich Brown. I'm like, wait a minute, dude. These aren't Latin American
John
men.
Smith.
Exactly. Funny.
Shout out to the Valverdean soldiers. That's good stuff.
Yeah. Bits and bobs. Let's do it.
Maybe like as my final bit and or Bob. Did we do Kathleen Turner? I don't think we did Kathleen Turner. I think we might have done her in the green room. But love me some Kathleen Turner, and then Mary Ellen Trainor and Holland Taylor. Like there's some pretty recognizable ladies in this one.
Well, Mary Ellen Trainor, this was her first film. A couple of
Really?
interesting things about her. Yeah, this was her first film, and we've already enjoyed her as the psychologist in Lethal Weapon and the Lethal Weapon franchise and like all these other movies, dude. She's great. Also was Bob Zemeckis' wife for 20 years. I
No
did not
shit.
know that. Yeah, and she unfortunately died at the age of 62, man, of complications of pancreatic cancer, which I was really sad to read as I was doing my research for this, dude, because I always loved her, man. She just kind of showed up everywhere, and she's just like always great playing these great little characters, man. So
Yeah, she's awesome.
it's kind of a bummer. Yeah, she's great.
She was great, man. I got a lot of time for her. And then she's obviously Mrs. Walsh in the Goonies. We talked about her in the. Did we do the Goonies? Yeah, we did the Goonies.
Totally, dude. Yes, she was Mrs. Walsh in the Goonies. Yes, we did the Goonies.
And then Holland Taylor, man. I mean, Holland Taylor was the great leader in Bill and Ted Face the Music, which we did somewhat recently. She's great. She's super recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the editor, the publisher. Yeah. Oh my God, man. I absolutely loved her character. That was originally supposed to be a man.
Oh yeah.
And they did some. There was a lot of little rewrites and polishes done on this movie, dude. And that was one of them. Is that they swapped it out and changed it to her editor and made it a woman who was always like encouraging her.
That was great. Like this bar scene where they're like
loved it.
talking about all the schlubby dudes and stuff. Like that was a good little scene.
Oh my God, that fucking scene was so funny. That was probably one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie, dude. She's like, just straight up, man. Loser, loser, too happy. God, like that was great. She was really, really great. Had a lot of, like again, small character had a lot of depth. Like really cool the way she supported her, writer and her friend, and like this, that, and the other thing. It was great. Really, really great. Sorry, I feel like I just hijacked that from
No,
you.
that's cool. I was just shouting out the ladies because we didn't really cover them and they were all pretty solid.
No, you're right. We didn't. I feel bad now too.
You started on Kathleen Turner and then didn't really talk about her.
Similarly with her credits, man, I thought she was in a million things, but she kind of wasn't, that I know of at least.
She kind of had a interesting career.
Oh, I mentioned the Virgin Suicides with her. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. She just was really awesome in this.
Ooh.
She played it really well.
I mean, she's been in some series that I really like.
She's one of those talents, Ben, that like I feel like was just everywhere in the 80s, but like when you look up her credits, like it's
not so much.
It's not so much. It's kind of strange.
It's just super. I mean, I guess it's similar to some of the other peeps that we talk about here. In that kind of like where we're surprised they haven't been in a bunch more stuff. Super memorable, clearly.
That's weird. I feel like maybe she had some TV credits that
maybe
I'm not seeing here for some reason, or I'm just thinking of somebody else. But anyways,
in her IMDb trivia section, it said in the 90s she got rheumatoid arthritis so bad that she couldn't turn her head. So like she was really fucked up and sick for like all the 90s up till 2006. So like that would be why we didn't see her then.
Yeah, that's it right there. Yes, she played Malibu Stacy, the lady that kind of invented Malibu Stacy dolls in The Simpsons, and then she also played Buck Strickland's wife in King of the Hill, which I love.
Yeah, okay.
And that whole thing about the arthritis, man, that just pretty much wraps up the discussion right there.
It makes sense as to why she disappeared. Yeah, I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, she did War of the Roses with Michael Douglas. Like that.
Yeah, and that's probably a pretty heavy hitter.
Prizzy's Honor, she did with Nicholson. Jewel of the Nile, she's been
shout out to Miss Turner, Mrs. Turner. She's awesome. Kathleen Turner.
Oh shit, I forgot she was in The Man with Two Brains with Steve Martin, dude.
Yeah,
I just said
Benny
that.
mentioned that a minute ago.
Oh, you did? You did say that, didn't you? I do.
Yes.
And
that was a good one.
Your face. It's stupid.
Any other bitsies, bobsies?
I don't think we really started on the bits and bobs. We just kind of
cast it out.
got derailed by Kathleen Turner.
Cast regression for a minute.
I've got one.
Let's
the
hear it.
Soundtrack, man.
Yeah.
What?
The soundtrack to this film.
Yeah.
Alan Sylvestri. I don't know. It's like very 80s. It's very sort of yacht
Sylvestri?
rocky, and
yeah.
it's sort of. But there's also a lot of like slap bass and like kind of Seinfeld theme stuff going on here.
What's the deal with the soundtrack?
I love it. No, I hadn't had a chance to check that out. Sylvestri, though, man, I feel like I'm falling into your camp there, Benny, where we've talked about some soundtracks sometimes where you've said that the soundtrack disappeared into the movie, and I feel like that's like this for me. But if I rewatch it, I think I'd definitely pay more attention to it.
No, it's very 80s. I mean, there's stuff in it that sounds like came out of like an action sequence from Magnum PI, like it's just got that same kind of like like action tropical yacht rocky kind of flavor, like there's like steel drums and like wah guitar. He did like the theme song. I mean, he's done a shit ton of stuff, but like stuff that sounds like this would be like maybe like Chips.
Yeah.
He did Chips. He did Starsky and Hutch. Like, so like it's got like some of those kind of like old, 80s serial TV vibe.
Definitely, dude.
Yeah,
and,
love it.
And so
and he stays like all the way up to like Avengers and
I'm just looking at it now.
Dude,
he's done.
The guy's a legend,
tons
man.
of shit. Yeah.
Dude, he was doing like I used to buy scores, man, from this time period. Like back in the 80s and the 90s, I was buying scores of movies from the 80s and the 90s, man, because I loved the music, like Total Recall.
Shit, he's done so much stuff.
I believe Sylvestri
I'm
did
skipping
Total
a ton
Recall.
of shit here, but he's done like
fucking Predator,
the theme song
Abyss,
to like
all the Back to the Future,
a shit ton of movies that we've done. Yeah,
Exactly, dude. He did every Zemeckis movie. He did, and Commando, right? Because in this movie, when Douglas starts dragging the alligator back into the castle, we get the Sylvestri bit from Commando in 48 Hours, dude. The ding, 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 ding,
the plink,
like
plinks he went off of.
Yeah, the plinky plink. Yeah, the plinky steel drum
he
song.
did
dude.
not
Totally.
he did not do it, but it's a similar vibe.
It is a similar vibe.
There are bars of that are in this. There may not have the steel drum, but there's definitely chunks of that are like,
you reckon?
In that little bit.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm almost positive, man. Because as soon as it happened, I was like, dude,
No, it's
this
got
is
a
the
very
same
similar
song.
vibe, but he didn't do it. He didn't do Commando.
Didn't add the steel drums.
No. Well, I mean, it had steel drums, but he didn't do Commando, I don't think.
Yeah, he did, dude.
Did he?
Let's check it out. I'm
No,
dying to know. Who did it?
I don't know. I'm on him, and I can't search for Commando.
He did like
Yeah.
everything else, so he didn't do Commando.
All right. Okay. Wow. I
Jay
still remember.
Grushka.
I mean, he did like literally everything else. Back to the Future, The Abyss, Who Framed Roger
Super Mario
Rabbit,
Brothers.
Rabbit, Predator, Overboard, Mac and he did Mac and Me.
We should do Mac and Me sometime.
Oh my god.
We should
Dude,
just
he's-
Get
That
Paul
was
Rudd on the
James
show.
Horner that did that.
yeah, just for Paul Rudd's
Just for
sake.
Paul.
They did Forrest Gump. I mean, Christ.
Yeah, he did Judge Dredd
Yeah.
with the recent
Yeah.
the 96 Dredd or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait,
Sergeant
which Dredd?
Go.
Stallone Dredd.
He didn't do whatever. He
Stallone
didn't do the
Dredd.
good dread, the cool dread.
He did the better Dredd. He did the best Dredd. Stallone Dredd.
He did Chad's dad Dredd.
Yeah.
Chaz Dad's dread.
I mean, Abyss is all the Back to the Futures, The Abyss, Predator 1 and Predator 2, like he's got some fucking serious chops. Fucking
Oh, there's
Overboard. I
ton-
love Overboard.
The guy that did the Planky Plank steel drum song that was used in 48 Hours and Commando was James Horner, the other major composer that's done everything that you can imagine. Commando, Cocoon, Aliens,
Yeah, well,
freaking
fuck that guy.
Crawls.
We'll talk about him when we're doing one of his movies.
Fuck you, James Horner.
hey, we'll talk about that guy when we're doing one of his movies. Shut up.
This is about
Fuck you and fuck
Sylvestri,
him.
okay?
Both of yous, we're talking about Sylvestri.
Love
Holy
it.
shit. You're funny, dude. Anyway, okay, so I'm glad we just wasted all that time on that, but
I'll be
get back to
I'll be
where
right
Ben
back.
brought us, because I really liked that you brought that up. I think this movie, the soundtrack did have everything that you said. It had a wide variety of different things. It also at times, it was interesting, man. It would kind of disappear into the movie for me, and then like all day today, I kept going, like without even thinking about it. Most of the time, I was just walking around going, you know, that little sort of lovey-dovey refrain they had going on throughout the whole damn movie, dude. I
I
just
have
got
zero
in my head
recollection
and I
of the
could
soundtrack at all, but
not
I'm
get
down.
it out. Oh, that's just it. It's always playing in there.
Love it. You got any bits?
I kind of blew them all out. Good.
I like the prolific use of giant stupid boats. Like I like that.
What do you mean?
With one of the opening scenes where maybe that's a good bit is in the opening scene with her sister getting clubbed by a fucking 7-year-old kid in a bolo who steals her fucking
Dude.
Shelly Cobra or whatever that fucking car
What
was.
in the fuck was that, man? Shelby Cobra?
So
Yeah. What in the
great,
fuck?
dude.
That was the weird. Dude, that was the weirdest opening of a movie.
It was
and
great,
the
man.
weirdest
It was so
way
great. It was
to
so
open a
unexpected.
movie.
So the fucking
I know.
7-year-old kid kidnaps her and then drops her off at a dock and they get in a boat and the boat goes 4 feet to another boat that's like right off
Oh my
the
God.
dock. It was just so fucking great.
That was so funny, man. And I'll tell you what, like I did notice that, and I thought that was hysterical,
It was
man.
great,
and,
man.
and we got to see that 4-foot boat ride like at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
movie, which was
And
great.
there's some shitty red-hulled fucking old boat with crocodiles on it and the guy's eating lobsters and shit.
Yeah, it wasn't a yacht. It was just a piece of shit.
It was great.
Like that was what was great about it.
It was the
You know
80s
what I mean? And
Bronco
then-
equivalent of a yacht.
There you go. There you go. And the other thing too was like that kid, like when the movie opens, man, and you know, Elaine's like running downstairs and you know, she gets the car and she pulls it out. Like you see the kid eyeballing her, dude. And like in my mind, I was like, okay, so, you know, the kid's going to go run around the corner and tell
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
dirty, shady looking dude, man. And then he like pulls this bolo out, and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And then I was like, oh shit, he's gonna take her out, man.
Dude, it was
like,
great.
This is happening.
He steals the car, and there's like a 50-year-old stunt driver in like a kid's t-shirt,
right?
You know,
exactly, dude. But it was like a 3-stage thing, and then I was like, oh, he's gonna drive the car now.
It's fucking great,
right? Like, I was like, what the hell is this, dude?
It was perfect.
It was very bizarre. Yeah, it was funny.
I was just mentioning, Benny, that scene that leads straight into the boat where like they get to the dock and then they jump on a boat to take the boat 4 feet to another boat. It was fucking great, man. All the boat shit was so dumb.
The boat shit was
dude.
Dumb.
That 4-foot boat ride thing is so funny. That's kind of the thing that Jim Carrey did in Ace Ventura.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we were talking about that. That's when he does that really great Connery impression. He jumps in the inflatable raft. He puts the fan in the water, the handheld battery-powered fan, and he goes 2 feet to the ladder. Dude, it's so great.
I love how much you love that one scene.
What does he say?
It's just got so much going on. It's got the making fun of the little short boat ride and the great Connery impression.
What does
he say?
He goes, I can't even do it, dude. He goes, lovely party. Pity I wasn't invited. And he's like doing,
perfect.
It's Jim Carrey. So like the way he's
over the
his
top
faces
like a
and what he's doing with his eyebrows is so funny, man. And it's and you know what? I looked for it on YouTube a couple of months ago.
Yeah, you put it on the show.
It the first. Did I?
Yeah. You put the audio for it.
Oh, because I feel like I couldn't find it. I feel like I couldn't find a good.
Maybe you didn't find a good video of it,
it.
but you got the audio.
I think I found a video clip of it
for
the show
notes.
notes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I couldn't remember exactly what it was.
All right, so are we gonna false start bits and bobs for the third time?
The boat thing in the car was the bits and bobs. Come on, we're in bits and bobs.
Yeah, we're in bits and bobs.
Yeah, we're bitsing and bobs like a
good.
motherfucker.
I love it when Danny DeVito gets his shit kicked out of him by that lady for like crawling.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, that was funny, man.
Well,
And I like how she did it too, and I like the way they structured that scene because they didn't do it with like it was like they didn't make it like it was a big scene. You know what I mean? She just like treated him like a pervert, and then like she's over on the side, man,
slapping
like,
the waiters and shit too.
She's throwing punches at him, dude, like 4 or 5 of them.
It was great.
She's fucking him up.
Yeah, she was trying to fuck him up.
While
It was
like
great.
Kathleen Turner and Mike Douglas are doing their like
Dance sequence,
Saturday Night Fever routine.
Yeah.
Which and
turns
out that was ad-libbed.
Yeah, great nugget. He didn't realize he was being filmed. I guess Zemeckis just turned the camera on and started filming it. He was just goofing around. They were goofing around.
That's great because it seemed I saw him dancing. I was like, Jesus Christ, he would have had to rehearse the fuck out of that. But turns out he was just fucking around.
Turns out
that's how he got all of that. He's a cunning linguist and a good dancer. That's how he got all the ladies. It seems.
That's right.
And he was Douglas. I mean,
and he was Michael Douglas. Yeah, fair enough.
He's the man that once played a marginally douchey, possibly
semi-redeemable
douchebag. Yeah,
that's right.
And he's a semi-redeemable douchebag here.
He is,
more or less. Yeah,
he is. You're right.
He's not a hedge fund manager, but he's still kind of the same
pretty close.
Guy.
Yeah. So one of the there's some disjointed things like he like the timeline with him in Colombia is very weird. Like in the very beginning, he's like, "Oh, I've been down here for a year and a half, like doing these birds." And then later he's like, "Oh, me and the Cartagena cops me and the Colombian police go way back." It's like, well, wait, you just said you were just down here for a year and a half. And then at another point in the movie, he's like, saying like,
been here forever.
Some such thing as 2 to 5 years. 2 to 5 years ago this happened. I was just like, dude, which is it, bro?
How many people got their hands on the script, bro?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So of course I took issue with that.
Yeah, we touched on it briefly, but the finding the airplane bales of weed campfire scene is worthy of a second shout out, I think.
Sure. It's great.
But I presume that it looked like Cuervo. They find a bottle of tequila and fucking pound the thing.
Yeah.
They really polish that thing off.
Definitely tequila, probably Cuervo.
Dude,
when Cuervo was exotic.
Exactly, right? Like, they got pretty banged up, man. I mean, they're sitting there burning bales of weed. It's like,
dude, a buddy and I
polished
off an entire bottle of Cuervo once, and don't recommend. It was like,
no,
they would have been so fucking hammered, man. Holy shit!
Exactly. I've definitely not done a bottle, but I've definitely done more than I probably should have, and it was again not recommended. No,
I was like 17 at the time when putting a fucking bottle away was, stupid shit you brag about. Fuck me, it was a bad idea.
Okay, what else? Bits and
this is it's Bits and Bob's territory, but unrelated to the movie. The research room just got back to me, and Alan Sylvestri did the theme song to Tales from the Crypt.
Oh yeah,
or he did music from Tales from the Crypt.
Fuck yeah. I like how you're like you got a Tales from the Crypt historian credit now, like, and Kev's got his Mortal Kombat one.
Mortal Kombat, yes, I like that.
I'm just the guys in the research room just came to this with me. They were like, "Hold
a piece
on,
of paper onto your desk."
I've been under the door, exactly.
Because every time you say what's the deal about something, that's what they do. They go out and they hustle, man.
They figure it out, yeah.
Right?
I love it.
Oh, dude, mystery.
What's the deal with airplane food?
What is the fucking deal with airplane food? Final crocodile fight, all the final fight shit, the like catacombs, double cross, triple cross, map gem shit. The Batcave bit where DeVito said we better go before Batman shows up, I kind of tickled my funny bone a little bit.
That was great, yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Little did we know he would be Oswald Cobblepot.
Right.
A few years later.
Just a lot. It said a lot going for it.
Not to be confused with Chester Copperpot.
Not yet.
Nice name drop, Benny.
Which would also be appropriate based on the genre of this movie.
Sure. Any other stuff?
No.
Nugs? Ejections? What are you ejecting on there, Kev Ernie?
Nothing, Chet.
I heard it.
What's the deal thing? Yeah.
Are we on the No.
What's the deal?
I was turning my phone off.
Mm-hmm. And then just fell into TikTok.
My finger slipped.
Just changing a light.
I don't do
fell on
bro.
the Matchbox
I don't do TikTok. Okay.
Okay.
Are we at the? Where are we at?
We're either at the end of Bits and Bobs or we're in Nuggets. It's your call, man.
Well, let's go to Nuggets and let's wrap this up, man. I gotta wrap this up.
Nuggets it is. Do you have any nuggets?
Nope.
I have one nugget that I found while ejecting earlier. Kimberly Herron, the lady that was the blousy Western girl in the opening sequence, was the ghost that gave Aykroyd a blowjob in Ghostbusters.
Oh my god! Wow, that's a great nug, dude.
I thought you would like that.
I do like that. Most of the nuggets are already sprinkled into the show, so I'm not going to dig up anymore.
She also plays her character name in this 1989 film is Party Girl. Kev, who's the party girl in Roadhouse?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably she's probably one of the chicks at the pool party that Brad Wesley is having.
Yeah, probably.
This disturbing Dalton and Emmett across the lake there, across the river.
Yeah, that'd be it for sure. I love that she's the dream ghost from Ghostbusters, so that's pretty good.
I love it that she's the dream ghost and the sexy babe in the beginning of this.
Yeah, hey, no complaints. It was a good opening scene. Very 80s. Very Porky's.
Very 80s.
What do you got?
Ghost blowjob was also very 80s.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Any other nuggets, or are we deathing out?
Nah, I'm good on nugs, I guess. There was some interesting people that were approached to do the Jack Colton role, but they all turned it down, and none of them, every time, single one of them, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like Clint Eastwood, I was like, what? No.
No.
No, duh.
Totally inappropriate.
Talk about
I'm
registering my
picturing
disgust on the
Clint Eastwood
internet.
as Gunny Highway as Jack Colton.
That I could see being extremely funny.
Wait, the Dooley brothers. I can't do it.
I can't. I was just trying to come up with like a thing, and I couldn't do it. I came up after
Panther piss.
Panther piss.
I'm not able to pull off the gravel right now.
I don't have. You know what it is? I'm out of energy. That's the problem. Okay, deaths. Let's see. We had a pretty good death showing this week, which I'm happy about because lately it's been a little thin, but really kind of not many more than we had for like The Game or Highlander or Red. We had I let it off with a Danny DeVito death, and then Benny had the Look at Those Choppas death. Which I think was
Chompers.
the best one.
It was a good one.
That was a good one. And then Chad ejected on Zemeckis. Chad got the thought John Madden was the Ben Gaze.
I mean, that's pretty
spokesman death.
pretty lame. And then you died for not defending your
I
territory.
died for not defending commercial knowledge. And then Chad had a delightful death, and I feel like Ben had another ejection somewhere there at the end on something, but I'm not sure if that's true.
That was maybe my teeth were floating death.
Oh,
Yeah, probably.
I like that.
Well, ratings
All
then?
right. Yeah, ratings. Slab, why don't you lead it this week, man?
Yeah, I got a nostalgia for this. I mean, talking to you guys makes me feel better about it. I was kind of in the 4-2 territory. But I feel like it deserves to be a 5 just because it's like of the era perfectly and has a similar like enjoyment as an Indiana Jones, but is not an Indiana Jones, like for the reasons we talked about. So yeah, I'll just give it a flat 5. Yeah. It's in Excalibur, Dread, Roadhouse, Running Man territory. Stallone's 5.
Stallone's 5.
Yeah,
I like it. Stallone's 5, man.
Bumping it up from what I was going to give it a 4.2, so I think a 5's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I'm going to go higher. I do have nostalgia, but I don't feel like that was sort of like a really big part of it at all for me. This was very much like a fresh watch. Like I mean, sort of like I haven't seen this in a long time, so it was great to watch. It was great to watch as an adult, and it was everything I remembered and more, and it held up beautifully, dude. So, you know, after 30-something years or whatever, like, yeah, I'm giving this thing a solid 9.0. It's great. You know, there's no reason not to. It's just, it's a great movie, man. You know, like I think the 9 is that it's not like a legendary movie like Shawshank or anything like that. There's no like message, you know, but like it's just got like, I love all the romantic parts of it, man, you know, and I love that it's really more about a female lead than a male lead, you know?
Sure.
And all of that sort of stuff. And I like the whole idea of like the writer, you know, it's just great. It's just cool, man. It's a great story, dude, with some great characters, and it's well acted, and the score is freaking great, and My Little Mule, and that's it, dude. Benny, you're up.
I'm going to go with 7 15/16 on this one.
Stinks.
5 and a stinks.
For all the aforementioned reasons, and, you know, just Zemeckis, Turner, Douglas, DeVito, Alan Sylvestri's score, that's just top-notch 80s action wonderfulness. And,
Yeah,
I love the idea that, I'm, like, pissed off because I don't remember anything about Jewel of the Nile, but I love the idea that this could have been, like, a franchise that was really good, you know?
me too.
It had the potential.
It did. So did, dude.
Even if that's not what happened. There's some, alternate universe where it did happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even though we kind of already talked to, like, wrap the whole thing up, like, it's one thing that I will add is that, like, this movie is really cool because even when I was a kid, like, I saw this movie a lot, right? And even as a kid, like, this is like an adult movie. Like, Indiana Jones was more like the a kid could watch it and be excited, right? You know, like it had a lot of cool stuff in it. This was not like that exactly, but I really liked this movie despite that fact. Like, I still found this very engaging and very cool when I was a younger person, when I was a kid, you know, and like the whole idea of the map and the treasure and all of that, dude, I was just like, wow, you know, and I think going into the Jewel of the Nile, I was like, oh man, they're going to find another sick, like stone dude. And that's why it was such an utter disappointment when it was like, you know, some guy named Bob who was like the accountant in Egypt or something, dude, or whatever the hell it was, man. Anyway,
it's a shame you don't make them like they used to. I don't think you can really, but
I don't know. It's kind of making me want to try to make one like they used to.
There was that.
It could be done. It could be done well. I think, you know.
I do. I think so. Do some practical effects and
it's known, but it's not like a super. You know, it's not like doing like an A-Team remake or something. Like you could pick up where you left off, do like a Brandon Routh Superman kind of thing.
I like that, dude. I think you could do this. New cast. I definitely think. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, just pick up right where
just go.
Like, the first movie leaves off. You know, like literally, like they're on the boat, traveling the world, and
exactly,
getting into wild adventures.
Yeah,
I need to revisit it, but I feel like a recent example, well, somewhat recent example of a movie that kind of captures the feel of the 80s, not in exactly the same way, but was Super 8. J.J. Abrams did it. Did you guys see that? It's kind of a monster movie with Elle Fanning.
That was a great movie.
That one kind of hit some of the notes, but it's a different type of 80s movie, the monster one. I think it'd be really tricky to hit this type of movie with it, but I'm totally down to see people try.
Well, we're the ones that are going to try it, Chad, so
let's do it.
Get a front row seat. Yeah.
Word hurrah.
Yeah, we'll just let's just start writing scripts, I guess.
That's it.
I agree. Yeah. We'll pitch it with me attached as the lead and watch how quickly it dies. Oh my God.
You can play like Danny DeVito's.
There you go. I could be Ralph.
Ralph Wiggum.
Dun, 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 dun.
That'd be a great role, though, man. I mean, you know.
And Kevin Muller is Ralph. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, boy. All right, so I don't need to ask this question that I love to ask every week because we already know the answer. Folks, next week we're going to do Flash Gordon. So take a deep breath, take a cold shower.
Flash.
All right, we're doing Flash Gordon.
Savior of the universe.
The other 80s movie with Chad singing the soundtrack. So get ready.
He saved every one of us.
He'll save every one of us.
I love it, man. I freaking love it.
Now that is a bad good movie.
So anyway, stay tuned for that next week, dude. Thanks for joining us for this Romancing the Stone episode. I really enjoyed watching this movie.
Yeah, me too.
And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye. Mang. I am the stallion.
Mang.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode, folks. If you'd like to check out the show notes for this episode, you can do so in your podcast app of choice or at our website, ebd.fm/episodes/238. We'd like to take a second and thank each and every one of you for supporting the show, either through listening to the show, Patreon contributions that you made, or passing the word around about the show, or rating us and reviewing us. We really appreciate it all. And for anybody that's interested in doing that, you can go to patreon.com/EBD podcast, and you can contribute to the show directly if you like. You can also rate us and review us on iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts, or tell your friends to check out the show. We really appreciate it. It helps grow the show. So thank you all. And if you want to join us on social, Instagram is the spot. That's where we go. So come join us or leave a comment or whichever. And that's it. Thanks for joining us for Romancing the Stone. We'll see you next week for Flash. So long for now, folks.
Savior of the universe.
beady, beady, beady. Stop into it.